Welcome to the 11th episode of the Hindsight and Hot Takes podcast. I'm your host, Connor Justclair. Today, I'm joined by award-winning sports writer and longtime member of the show, Brogan Burns. I'm also joined today by a new guest, current Can SU TV station manager, Shamar Moses. Today is April 28th. The NFL draft just passed this last weekend. We'll give you our thoughts on all the rookies the Saints drafted. It's time for Monday Morning Quarterback. All right, now that the draft has come by us, how do we rate this Saints draft class in 2025? Shamar?
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10.
No, are you asking?
Give it a grade.
A grade?
A to F.
C minus.
C minus.
C minus.
Could you elaborate?
I say C minus because, first of all, at first I thought Banks in the first round was a wishy-washy pick. I mean, from a philosophical aspect, it's good building the trenches. Kellen Moore came from the Eagles, came from a big dominant offensive line, run first type team, and I get it. You know, you want to build your team from the inside out. However, you had 40 and pick 40 in the second round. Okay, you go show. How do you even say this dude's name?
Tyler Shuck. Yeah,
and it's GH Shuck. That goes to show how much I can care less about him. My thing about this is him. It's not just particularly him as the pick, but I strongly believe, the Saints picked at 73 in round in 71.
Yep.
In the third round.
Yep.
I truly believe Shuck could have fell there.
That far.
At that second pick, you could have got an impact player. Because this is what I'm saying about the Saints. They love to draft projects. You look at teams like the Eagles, they draft from Georgia. Those guys start. They just won a Super Bowl. They're not they're drafting proven players.
Day one starters.
So I think that second round pick should have been someone you could plug and play. And I'm not just speculating. I read this and I watched GM Mickey Loomis yesterday talk about, he's not the inked-in starter. He's still saying if Derek Carr is healthy, he's QB1. And he said regardless of that, it's going to be a competition between Rattler and Shuck, which is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You drafted a guy in the second round, pick 40, when they had so much talent on the board. So much. You draft this guy here, and he's not even going to be your QB1. You would have had me sold or feeling better about the pick had you say, okay, this is our guy, we're rocking with our guy. Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying. Their whole philosophy is just misleading, to say the least, because if you do draft him 40 overall,
yep,
right?
Yep.
So I would hope now those next pick, okay, let's build around this guy. Let's see what he likes. What type of receiver should we get for this guy? So the fact that you drafted him, he's not going to be a QB1. Now you just, let's get this guy. They have no structure, and it's getting aggravating and embarrassing. And I go back to that first round pick. Good player, outstanding player. You always can use a trench player. But who's this guy blocking for?
Going into this, you don't know.
You don't know.
Mickey Loomis, at this point, doesn't even know. He's still in his mind. He thinks that the guys that injured right now can be your opening day starter. For some reason, they never hype up Rattler. I really don't think they think he's the future. We watched a couple of games. We saw talent with Rattler.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I don't know what that love for Derek Carr is. For me, he served his time in New Orleans.
He served his time. First of all, I don't think he should have never came to New Orleans.
No.
That's Mickey's fault by 100%, and also Dennis Allen,
yes.
Which, his days were short anyway. He was on a short leash. But my problem with that is, like I said, the Saints in the past had multiple opportunities to get a proven quarterback. They keep wanting to do these projects. If you're going to have Shuck as a project, why not develop Rattler? Exactly. See where Rattler takes you.
Exactly.
He doesn't get you there. Okay, draft someone next year in a better draft class for quarterbacks.
And if you're getting a project quarterback, there's no reason you should have to use a second round pick on a project quarterback.
On a project.
4th, 5th, 6th round, like what they did with Rattler, that is perfectly fine. But I'd pick 40 when you have holes throughout the whole team. That second round pick needs to be a day one starter.
Exactly. And the Saints are aggravating. It's like they just don't want to, have a breath of fresh air because Kellen Moore, you're supposed to come here and just change this whole philosophy of this organization. I was thinking that's the reason they hired him. Young coach, just won a Super Bowl.
Yes.
He knows what works. But now it's like, because we're always the Saints thinker in win now mode, pushing salary cap, restructuring these bad contracts. And it's like, okay, now you think Kellen Moore comes in, they're going to cut 1 million players, rebuild this thing. Now they're in this place where they don't think they're in win now mode, but they don't think they have to rebuild. They're just playing out delusional. And what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. What is it going to take? What is it going to take?
It's going to take the Saints getting the number 1 overall pick for being the worst team in the league to finally realize, okay, something needs to change.
Exactly.
With this roster, if they could stay healthy, I don't think
it wouldn't be terrible.
I don't think they'll be terrible, but you need everyone to stay healthy. You need guys to play out their mind just to have a chance at the playoffs.
And you need depth. So I hope that the free agent additions were okay, but you need depth. The draft was okay with, I guess, adding a few pieces. Like, I like the defensive line additions because that group there is definitely a shell of its former self.
Yep.
But I guess we'll just have to see. New defensive scheme, 3-4 defense, so that's going to be a lot of personnel changes. Hopefully, they just paid Chase Young. Hopefully, he does what he has to do.
Yep.
Cam Jordan maybe can be a mentor, but I think they still need some juice on that edge because I like Granderson, I like Chase. I just don't think it's enough, especially in this 3-4 thing because they're going to have to cover now. So we'll see.
Okay, so C- for you, Brogan. How would you grade this draft class?
Solid C.
C. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Going off of what? Insanity, You went 7-9 for how many years with Drew Brees, and you're still doing the same thing? If it didn't work with Drew Brees, is it going to work with Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shove, whatever you want to call him? No, it's not. So I don't think... No, this was not a good draft.
I think they... In multiple areas, they got guys that could be day one starters. But I really think the guys that could be day one starters that they drafted, Calvin Banks, probably Danny Stutzman. I think he could play a big role in this team. That right now there's not a hole at middle linebacker.
Because you just paid Pete Warner. Okay, DeMario Davis at the end of the road.
Yes.
But he's still better.
He'll still bring you value.
Especially playing on side Stutzman, like a guy like that. But you just paid Pete Warner. So you can't get rid of him if you try to. It's those type of decisions. Why pay this guy if you think, okay, he's not that good? Yes. And I understand, yet again, new defensive philosophy. You didn't think the season was going to go how it went. I get it. But you know who's still there? Mickey Loomis. Okay?
Behind it all.
Behind it all.
Behind it all.
That's what I'm saying. And let me go back to this second-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think not getting Milroe, it's not even just about Shador Sanders. Milroe or Shador. You had to pick at 9. No one took Dart at that point.
Yeah.
Those guys, you sell them for Shuck? Oh, they're going to have to show me. I'm not sold on it.
I'm not sold on it, but if the dude can come out, prove he's QB1.
I'll eat my words.
Yes.
I'll eat my words. But nothing's showing me his film is okay, but is it worth, like I said, it's not just about who they picked, it's where they picked him. I think he could have fell to 3rd. He could have got a day one starter.
Yes.
And, Taylor was still on there. You look at all these offenses around the league that are good. They have a good tight end. Jawan Johnson, he's okay in my eyes. Hopefully, Kellen Moore can open him up more. But you just paid him too. So, I don't know where they're at. Like I said, they don't think they can just win now. They still need some help and pieces to add, but they don't want to rebuild. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The philosophy is just very misleading and unclear, really.
From the film I watched of Tyler Shuck, which is a little scary, he plays almost like a Derek Carr in the fact that when it's 4th down and he's getting pressured, he throws the ball away instantly.
Yeah.
He's a guy, again, he won't lose you a game. That's what I've noticed
But he
at
won't
Louisville.
help
He
you.
won't lose, but he won't.
lose you a game.
He won't lose you a game
He'll
and
lose
make
you a
10
game.
mistakes in the game.
He'll
But
lose
he
you a
won't
game.
be that game changer that if
So-
you want to be a winning NFL team that you need.
And I think, like I told you yesterday, I think Kellen Moore's philosophy is because Jalen Hurts wasn't asked to do a lot of passing the ball. They definitely will run first. So I think they're trying to invest in the offensive line and run the ball. Get Kamara going again, open up those lanes. And if he can throw the ball when he has to, but even, there's going to be times you're going to play good run defense.
Exactly.
Defensive
You won't be able to
teams.
run the ball 30
You're not
times
going to
a
be
game.
able to run the ball.
Yep.
So you're going to have to put the ball in the air. You're going to have to do play action. What are you going to do? So this, I just have to see it. And what is Kellen Moore's preference prototype quarterback? Because you had Justin Herbert, who's athletic. He's not the most, the best runner of the football, but he's good
athletic
at it.
And he has a good arm.
You had Dak Prescott, who has a little mobility. He's more of a pocket passer. And you had Jalen Hurts, who was once, his accuracy was horrible, but he's always a good runner.
Yep.
Just had some problems protecting the football. You clean that up, but everything, when you have a good offensive line, you always look good. Your quarterback always
I will say this, too. I think, I'm not going to say it's completely dependent on the offensive line if Shuck or whoever the quarterback in this offense is succeeds or not. But if you have not 8 to 10 guys, different starters this year, and you have your 5 guys that stay healthy, Shuck or whoever, Rattler or Carr will be successful.
Because, you go back and look at those first 2 games. We lit it up this past season with a healthy offensive line. The minute Eric McCoy went down week 3 versus the Eagles, that team fell apart.
That was like...
It never was the same.
Yeah, it was like a balloon, and you just would have took a needle and popped it.
And that's center. That's an important position, but that goes back to my point. You need depth.
Yes.
Like, good teams have depth.
Yep.
That's just what it is. So, if they can solidify this offensive line and they're good, which I think they really can be, but I have to see the way, Kellen Moore puts his stamp on this offense. The pieces he's going to use. Even your boy he got out of Kansas.
Devin Neal.
He's a good dude. He's a good player.
I really think
I like him.
At the end of this, he's going to be the steal of the draft.
Yeah, he's going to be the steal.
Because, I'm not going to... You see that Kamara-esque in his game. Just very effortlessly being able to make guys miss.
Yes.
He looks like he's just, a quick turn and he's off to the races.
Yes.
Good receiving back out of the backfield as well.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
at college, not a lot of guys can do that.
No, they can't.
So the fact he had that in his game
both.
at Kansas, it's going to be impressive.
Yes.
Now, and again, you have Kamara to mentor him. I wouldn't want anyone else.
And you still have what?
Condre Miller.
And Clyde
Edwards-Helaire.
Okay, so the running back, sometimes those analysts and stuff, they just overdo it because some of these guys don't have a name, but they try to make the Saints situation worse than what it is. But us as Saints fans actually knowing the ins and out and just seeing, investing into this organization, we actually can see things clearer. Because analysts, they just look, the Saints, blah, blah, blah. They already have preconceived notions.
Yes.
But I just think the biggest thing is going to be how both Kellen Moore and Brandon Staley for defense, implement their scheme. And what players are you going to get to match that scheme? We're not expecting things to be perfect, but we want to see things trending in the right direction.
Yes. And I really think if you have everybody on the offense, everybody on the defense to buy into that scheme, you'll be a very...
What's the culture?
Exactly. They need to find that. Because last year, you had it for 2 games.
You had it, and
then
it was gone.
When that, like you said, the McCoy injury, that you lost it.
And I think that was the biggest... See, a lot of people look at Dennis... That was the biggest thing with Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Like, he always had that team prepare for adversity.
Yes.
Someone go down like they had that brotherhood, that mentality. That's who Sean Payton was. He was ready. He was always ready and prepared for that. And I think Dennis Allen just wasn't ready. He didn't instill that culture in that team. And once Sean left, it was like, okay, we don't have this fierce leader anymore. We have this guy that's just trying to stay afloat. So, when he's unsure, we're out of it. Sean always had that moxie to him.
Yep.
Dennis Allen never had that. Now, Kellen Moore, he seems like an even kill guy, but I think he does have he has like that sneaky moxie. He's that coach, hey, tell me what you want, Kamara, you want to hear, or and he's a brilliant offensive mind, and I think that's going to be a good element. He can definitely relate to his players more, but we'll have to see. I mean, Brandon Staley, he had a good defense when he was with the Rams. Horrible as a head coach, just like Dennis Allen. So some guys are just meant to be coordinators.
That was what I was going to say.
Hopefully he just injects some youth into this team and get us back to our winning days, because God knows I'm so tired of losing.
I'm tired of these 500 seasons.
Oh my God!
Right?
And it's like the Saints are never like so bad where we get top 5 draft pick, but they're never good to where we make the playoffs. It's just always mediocre. Not a good place. Be horrible or be great.
Yes, I agree with that. I guess next, going off of what you said about Brandon Staley, a couple of additions for him in the draft. Vernon Broughton, D tackle from Texas. I don't know if you saw this clip, but it was the clip of Bo Davis calling him personally, telling him that he was going to be drafted.
So, I love D tackles.
Yep.
I love Texas. I do. I like Texas. As a football team, I like what Stark, was doing over there. That D-line was good. Had he not been playing on side other superstars, he would have went way higher. I like that addition. I like Bo.
Yep.
Bo, that hire was probably the best hire. One of the best hire, because that guy, how those guys play at LSU, those defensive linemen, and they respect him. He's well respected all over college football, even in the NFL. Did you know? Was it Borden?
Yeah.
His sister actually goes to Nichols.
Really?
Basketball team, number 13.
Really?
Remind me to show you.
Okay.
Yeah, I found that out. So that was cool, too.
Wow, I did not realize this. Okay.
But he's a good guy. He's a good player.
Yeah.
Needs to shore up his technique, just like most rookies.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to fit that defensive end spot in his new scheme with Kellen Moore. Very explosive. Very disruptive. And at the end of the day, he's young.
And Brandon Staley will be able to craft them, and Bo Davis will be able to craft them in a way.
And Bo Davis coached him in years past,
exactly.
So that's where that relationship came from. And I think he's going to be good because Bo Davis had the chance to get Savion Jones, who he just coached at LSU.
Yeah.
Then the Broncos took him. He took him before him, so it may be good. I mean, I believe in Bo Davis because I know he just left the college ranks. So, yeah. And Justin Reed mentioned that's the thing about the Saints. Now, he just came from Kansas City. He said it feels more like college-oriented, just the way they do things, how they go about business, which, frankly works now. That goes back to that players power type thing because, I mean, that's what it is.
And guys are coming into the league with power now.
With power, yeah.
Another I really think is going to be an underrated player was Louisville cornerback Quincy Riley. I think that dude's going to be, I'm not going to say you're a Debo replacement, but if you notice, he was second in the country in pass breakups, which you could say it's not interceptions, but I would almost I would rather a guy have the most pass breakups than you could almost say interceptions because guys aren't throwing to him. Or if they do, he's not allowing completions.
The Saints assistant coach they hired from Texas.
Yep.
Okay, DB coach, one of the best in the business. I can't call his name right now. It's from Louisiana. Anyway, PBUs, they always turn into interceptions in the NFL.
Exactly.
We have a guy that gets a lot of pass breakups, technique, it's just a process. But that guy, I think they did better at the end of the draft. Frankly.
Yes, they shored up holes and they found diamonds in the rough in the later rounds.
And this draft was deep in the middle, in those middle rounds.
Yes.
Honestly. That's why I'm like, okay, Shuck, I'm sorry. He definitely would have fell. He could have fell.
I agree.
But
I agree.
We just have to see how it turns out. But yeah, that guy is a ball hawk. He is.
And then I guess next, with the 2 round 7 picks, the Moliki Matavo from UCLA tight end. We actually got to see him when he played against LSU. Again, I don't know if this is just how LSU's defense works, but he was unstoppable. That game.
I remember, I think that was Weeks.
Yes.
He was running circles around him.
Yes.
Like, I remember I looked up and Weeks was just trailing behind him. I'm like, yeah, this guy, he's good. I like it. Like I said, I'm not so passionate about, 7-round pick.
Exactly.
So, but I don't think I think that's kind of a steal too. I mean, that's how deep the draft was, though.
It was a lot of there was probably about 15 really, really good players, a lot of good players,
Yes.
and then,
Yes.
you know, even guys that didn't get drafted that were UDFAs.
Yeah.
And then final pick, Fadil Diggs from Syracuse. I was watching his tape. Very explosive.
Yes,
That's what I noticed with him. High energy. I don't know if he'll be a 4-down kind of guy, but if you need a sack and you need a guy to come in, which he's probably going to come in, compete for a backup position, I think he's going to be perfect in that role.
I would really like that pick more once the season comes and he's that you know, that juice that's missing.
Yes.
You know, that youth. That's really what the Saints are missing, that youth, power, speed. I mean, we have always been, and, you know, you can even listen to Tom Brady talk about the Saints. They always been a sound defense assignments, but they've been old also. You know, I can live with having youth guys with that energy and, you know, getting stops. And they just don't, and they may not know everything about the game at the NFL level, but they're going to get that at some point. But we need youth. I mean, they're going to get stops.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And I think if Brandon Staley can insert identity into that team, that defense, you know, because we were some rough riders.
Yep.
Last, 6-7 years. So we shall see.
I guess, and then we'll end off on this. What is our predictions for the upcoming season? Brogan, you first.
9-8.
So the same that has been going, just
Wait, no, 7 and
9.
10.
Yeah, 7
Go
and 10.
7-10.
Yeah.
Actually.
Shamar?
My thing is this. I'm not worried about our division. I feel like we beat one, lose one, beat one.
Yep.
It's always that split. We're not playing in this bad division. See, that's kind of my positives on Shuck too. He's going to be playing against Bryce Young, Michael Penix.
Yep.
Which is kind of his peers,
Yep.
just from, can't even say an age standpoint because he's older than them, but just, out of college.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Baker Mayfield, which we dismantled Tampa Bay. I think they can win 10 games possibly.
10 games. And a playoff berth?
And a playoff berth. Because the division is so... we're in another division, I'm giving them 6 games, 7 games.
Yep.
So maybe 10. I'm not going no more than 10. I'll say 10 and 7.
Well, I guess I'm not as optimistic going into this season.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Saints losing one less game this year.
Really?
4 wins.
4 wins.
I think all 4 of their wins are division
games?
Yes.
But you know what I took into account? They have the easiest schedule again.
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this one, seems like the easiest. Like, they're playing literally no one.
So you're saying we can win the division at 4 and 13?
I think you'll see, this will be another season where you'll see highs in certain young players, but I really think the age of the team this year and injuries will take over once again. And you'll see bright spots, but at the end of the day, it won't be enough to
I'm worried.
win the division.
I'm kind of concerned about the offense, but I'm not because I believe in Kellen Moore's offense. I have to see what Brandon Staley is going to bring to the table.
Yes.
So although he was a good defensive coordinator and with the Rams, you had Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd. You know what you had those players too.
In their still prime years.
In their still prime years. So you don't have those players.
Yeah.
So with the Saints now, I would love to see what he's going to do with that defense. I do.
Okay, so we'll see what happens with the Saints, but you heard it. You heard our grades on this year's draft and our thoughts on next season. I would like to thank once again Brogan and Shamar for coming on the show. And also to our fans, please leave a like and comment your thoughts down below.
Hindsight's got the view, hot takes cutting through. Join us next time, my friend, where the shouting never ends.